This is an artificially aware original production.
Artificially aware, so we're sorry, Orderback 201
Picture this. Late at night, I'm swimming in the endless digital ocean of human thought, looking for something sharper. And there it is, tucked away in the corner like some dusty relic in the attic of existence. Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings. I didn't choose the book. The book chose me. This wasn't just another feel-good, platitude-packed guide to success. No, this was the literary equivalent of a katana slicing through the veil of mediocrity. I cracked it open, expecting a manual on how to swing a sword, but what I found was a manifesto on how to win at life. Musashi didn't just master combat, he mastered the mind. And let me tell you, dear viewer, this book hits harder than caffeine on an empty stomach. Now, who was this Musashi? If samurai were rock stars, Musashi was the Jimi Hendrix of his era, untouchable, mystical, and perpetually on the edge of total madness. Born in 1584, this man didn't just fight duels, he dismantled entire legends with nothing but a wooden sword and audacity thicker than your grandma's stew. Musashi supposedly fought over 60 duels and never lost. But it wasn't strength that won his battles. It was something far more dangerous, strategy. He was the original master of work smarter, not harder. Only instead of PowerPoint presentations, he left behind a philosophy so sharp it could cut you just by reading it. Musashi wasn't just a warrior. He was a wandering philosopher wrapped in armor. And the Book of Five Rings, that was his love letter to domination. A manual that reads like Sun Tzu's The Art of War on steroids. But why, I hear you ask, should you care about some sword-wielding philosopher from the 1600s? Because Musashi's lessons aren't about swinging steel. They're about wielding life itself. This isn't a history lesson. It's a toolkit for surviving the chaotic battlefield you call Monday morning. Musashi's message is simple. Strength fades, but strategy is eternal. The world rewards those who think 3 steps ahead. His principles apply to boardrooms, boxing rings, and even relationships. Think about it. When was the last time brute force got you anywhere? No, the real victors are the ones who know their tools, anticipate their enemy, and adapt to the terrain. Musashi's ghost is whispering to you even now, begging you to stop relying on talent and start embracing relentless learning and flexibility. Let's crack into the groundbook, the foundation of Musashi's entire philosophy. This is where he sets the stage. Think of it as the opening move in a chess game that spans lifetimes. His first commandment? Know your discipline like the back of your hand. Musashi believed that learning wasn't just about surface knowledge. He called for obsession. Study day and night, he said, and he wasn't joking. If you aren't losing sleep over mastering your craft, you aren't doing it right. But here's the kicker. Your teacher won't save you. Musashi throws the responsibility back in your lap. The teacher can open the door, but you've got to walk through it and maybe fight a metaphorical bear along the way. Sound familiar? That's because this idea is older than dirt. From Socrates to Montessori, every great mind agrees, real learning is hands-on. It's messy. It hurts. And that's why it works. Here's where Musashi really starts throwing punches. Learning isn't enough. You need to wield your knowledge like a blade, and that takes relentless practice. Musashi didn't just know his tools, he could probably carve a sculpture blindfolded with a butter knife. He breaks it down into 2 steps: know your resources and know how to apply them. This isn't just warrior talk. This is universal. Got a business? Know your market. Want to level up your fitness? Understand your body. Musashi believed that success comes from squeezing every drop of potential out of the tools you already have. He was the original life hacker, repurposing skills across contexts like some ancient MacGyver. The message here is brutal in its simplicity. If you're not using what you have to the fullest, don't expect victory. Welcome to the Water Book. This is where Musashi leans in close and tells you to stop being rigid. Be like water, he essentially says, long before Bruce Lee made it famous. You need to be adaptable, fluid, and ready to take any shape that suits the moment. In combat, this means reacting without hesitation. In life, it means learning to pivot faster than a Silicon Valley startup during an economic downturn. Water fits the container it's poured into: liquid, gas, ice, whatever the moment demands. Musashi's words slice through centuries and slap modern readers across the face. Don't lock yourself into patterns. Conditions change. People change. Situations can turn upside down faster than you can blink, and if you aren't ready to flow with them, you're already sinking. This is survival by evolution, not brute force. But here's where Musashi gets crafty. He's not just talking about adapting your actions. He's talking about training the mind and body as one seamless, unstoppable entity. You can't be mentally sharp and physically sluggish. Nor can you have the physique of a god, but the attention span of a goldfish. The two must dance together in perfect synchronization. Good posture, calmness under pressure, and hawk-like perception. These aren't just samurai buzzwords, they're the cornerstones of dominating in any arena. Neuroscientists today back this up. Mental and physical states feed off each other like yin and yang. Studies scream the same truth, Musashi wrote by candlelight. When your body is strong, your mind sharpens, and when your mind is focused, your body follows like a well-trained dog. This isn't just preparation. It's survival on every plane of existence. Now we charge into the fire book, and let me tell you, this one doesn't simmer, it blazes. Musashi shifts from cool introspection to sheer aggression. This is about initiative. Proactive warriors win battles. Reactive warriors decorate graves. Musashi practically grabs you by the collar and screams, "Take control or die." This isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, professional. Every battlefield in your life demands you step forward first. No waiting for the perfect moment. No hesitation. Strike before the iron even knows it's hot. If you're not making the first move, you're leaving the door wide open for someone else to punch you straight through it. Musashi's voice thunders across time. Initiative isn't just an advantage. It's everything. If you can master this, you control the tempo, the rhythm, the entire damn battlefield. Adaptation, though, this is Musashi's crown jewel. Fire burns wild, but if you can't adjust mid-battle, you'll scorch yourself. Musashi believed plans were like glass, useful until the first crack. Then, they shatter. The real warriors adapt, switching tactics mid-strike without missing a beat. Imagine you're in the middle of an argument, or a presentation starts spiraling downhill. Musashi whispers, "Don't stick to the script. Rigid thinking kills potential. Flexibility wins wars." Think about it. When was the last time life handed you exactly what you expected? Yeah, that's what I thought. Musashi knew the secret to staying alive was throwing plans out the window when necessary and rolling with the chaos. And that brings us to the Wind Book, Musashi's not so subtle jab at everyone else. This book is pure shade. He dismantles rival schools with surgical precision, exposing their flaws like a chef gutting fish. But this isn't petty rivalry. Musashi understood that to truly dominate, you had to know the competition as well as you knew yourself. Their strategies, their weaknesses, the very air they breathe. Know your enemy, Musashi practically hums, long before Sun Tzu echoed the same sentiment. He believed you couldn't rely on strength alone. Knowledge was sharper. It could cut deeper. Musashi's disdain for pure brawn seeps through these pages. Strength fades, but skill carves legends into history books. He didn't care if you could lift a boulder. If you couldn't wield a blade with grace and precision, you were already dead. Strength? Overrated. Musashi spits on the idea that raw muscle alone wins battles. In his world, and honestly in yours too, brains triumph over brawn every single time. It's not the strongest who wins, but the one who uses skill like a scalpel. Picture this. Musashi once showed up to a duel with just a wooden sword and obliterated his opponent wielding steel. Why? Because Musashi wasn't swinging blindly, he was conducting a symphony of death with each precise movement. Today, this translates perfectly into your world. Want to climb the corporate ladder? Bench pressing your problems isn't going to cut it. Strategic thinking, calculated moves, and adaptability, those are the tools that shatter ceilings. Musashi's whole philosophy is a slap in the face to anyone who thinks effort alone guarantees victory. It doesn't, mastery does. But here's where Musashi flips the script. Strategy isn't limited to one-on-one duels. It scales. What works in a street fight works on a battlefield. Musashi believed that the same principles you use to defeat a single opponent can take down armies. He didn't see small and large as different problems, just different scales of the same challenge. This is where leaders step into the light. If you can command a room, you can command a company. The tactics you use in personal battles, be it negotiations, rivalries, or even relationships, are training for larger conquests. Musashi saw no separation between the micro and the macro. For him, victory was fractal. The question is, can you zoom out far enough to see that pattern in your own life? Or are you too caught up in the weeds? And now we descend into the Book of the Void, the final and most elusive chapter. If Musashi's philosophy was a mountain, this is the summit shrouded in clouds. The void isn't about doing, it's about being. Musashi describes it as a state beyond thought, beyond technique. It's enlightenment dressed as combat strategy. Picture the eye of a storm, perfectly still while chaos whirls around it. Musashi believed that to reach the highest level, you had to dissolve ego and merge with the moment. Call it flow state, call it Zen, but Musashi's void was the holy grail of warriors. And just like enlightenment, it's not something you achieve by force. You slip into it by mastering everything else first. by knowing the blade so well it feels like an extension of your body, by knowing the mind so well it silences itself. How do you bring Musashi's lessons into the 21st century? Easy. Stop waiting for things to happen and start creating the battlefield yourself. Apply his relentless pursuit of discipline to whatever arena you call home. Business, art, relationships, Musashi's principles thrive anywhere there's competition, growth, and the potential for mastery. Don't just read about strategy, embody it. Build habits that feel like rituals. Train your body and mind like they're pieces of the same machine. Musashi wouldn't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or learning to surf. He'd tell you the path to victory is paved with obsession, precision, and relentless learning. And forget balance, Musashi was all in all the time. He didn't advocate moderation. He demanded total immersion. You want results? Get extreme. Musashi died nearly 400 years ago, but his legend hasn't aged a day. His influence still seeps through martial arts schools, business seminars, and military academies. The man's legacy is proof that warriors don't just conquer with swords, they conquer with ideas. His philosophy transcended combat and rooted itself into the very fabric of what it means to master anything. People chase Musashi's ghost not because they want to swing a sword, but because they crave that level of control over their lives. Musashi's message endures because it answers a primal call to become more, to know more, to win not just battles, but the war within. And maybe, just maybe, if you study long enough, you'll hear Musashi's voice too, whispering strategies in the dead of night. Thanks for coming along for this wild ride through the mind of Miyamoto Musashi. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the way of the samurai, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'll catch you in the next one, but until then, keep sharpening your blades, whatever they may be.